Why did Max Verstappen win the race yet walk away without the world champion title? And how did Lando Norris finish third, avoid the chaos, and still become Formula One world champion? On paper, it makes no sense. In Formula One, winning the race is supposed to mean everything. Crossing the line first is meant to crown champions, but Abu Dhabi 2025 exposed the truth many fans overlook. Formula One isn't about winning one race, it's about surviving an entire season. And on the final night of the year, Lando Norris played the smartest race of his life. Welcome back to F1 Unpacked, the channel where we go beyond the checkered flag and explain what really decides championships in Formula One. If you enjoy deep dives that turn confusion into clarity, make sure to like the video and subscribe, because this story is one of the most misunderstood title finishes we've seen in years. Max Verstappen won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix because he had no other choice. Entering the final race trailing Lando Norris by 12 points, Verstappen could not manage. He could not defend. He had to attack. Winning was non-negotiable. Red Bull built their entire strategy around one objective: outright race victory. Verstappen delivered. He controlled the start, pushed aggressively, managed tire life under pressure, and crossed the line first. From a race perspective, he did everything right. But championships aren't awarded to the fastest driver on one Sunday. They're awarded to the driver who understands the full equation. And that equation favored Lando Norris. Before the race began, Norris knew something crucial. He didn't need to beat Verstappen. He needed to beat the points gap. With a 12-point lead, a third-place finish mathematically secured the title, unless Verstappen also claimed fastest lap and Norris dropped further back. At that moment, the entire championship came down to understanding Formula One's point system, something that even experienced fans often overlook in the heat of a final race. A race win is worth 25 points. Second place earns 18. Third place earns 15. The fastest lap adds a single bonus point, but only if the driver finishes inside the top 10. Going into Abu Dhabi, Lando Norris held 408 points. Max Verstappen had 396. That meant Verstappen needed to outscore Norris by at least 13 points in one race to steal the title. Winning alone gave Max a 25-point gain, but if Norris finished third with 15 points, Max would only claw back 10. Even with the fastest lap, that gain increased to 11, still not enough. This is why finishing third was the magic number. It created a mathematical safety net that protected Norris from almost every normal race outcome. Verstappen could win. Verstappen could dominate. Verstappen could even look unstoppable. But unless Norris dropped outside the top 3, the title wouldn't move. That knowledge changes how you drive completely. Norris didn't need lap time heroics. He needed precision, awareness, and positioning. That's why you never saw him force a move that could create contact. One puncture, one broken wing, one penalty, and the equation collapses. What made this even more complex was the constant live recalculation during the race. Teams aren't just racing, they're running simulations lap by lap. Strategy engineers update championship margins in real time, factoring in pit windows, safety cars, tire offsets, and fastest lap risks. Norris wasn't driving blindly. He had continuous feedback from the pit wall, telling him exactly what positions mattered and which didn't. This meant that when Verstappen pulled away at the front, Norris didn't panic. The gap didn't matter, only the order did. Another overlooked element was tire strategy. Verstappen ran an aggressive setup, extracting maximum pace at the cost of higher tire energy. Norris, meanwhile, was instructed to prioritize tire longevity. Why? Because defending P3 late in the race is easier when your tires are in better condition. This wasn't about raw speed, it was about race phase control. Norris needed to be strong at the end, not spectacular at the start. That's a championship mindset. Safety cars were also a major threat. A badly timed safety car can erase gaps, reshuffle tack position, and introduce chaos. This is where Norris's calm became essential. When the field bunched up, the risk of accidents increased. Verstappen could afford chaos. Norris could not. Every restart represented danger. One mistimed brake application or one aggressive rival behind could undo everything. That's why Norris often left small margins into corners, not because he was hesitant, but because he was insulating himself from randomness. It's also worth understanding the psychological warfare at play. Verstappen racing flat out put indirect pressure on Norris. Every lap Max extended his lead felt like a reminder that the fastest car wasn't Norris's. Lesser drivers might panic and push harder than necessary. Norris resisted that trap. He trusted the arithmetic. That's the defining difference between a race win mentality and a championship mentality.
And then there's the fastest lap factor. Verstappen chasing the fastest lap late in the race was not about pride. It was about forcing Norris into a lower position. That single point could have changed everything if Norris slipped back another position. Norris knew this. That's why he defended P3 so carefully when the gap behind tightened. He wasn't racing Verstappen. He was racing scenarios. This is why saying Verstappen won the race, so he should have won the title, misses the point entirely. Formula One has never worked that way. The rules reward consistency across a season. Norris accumulated points relentlessly when others stumbled. Those points didn't disappear just because Verstappen won the final battle. The championship was decided long before Abu Dhabi. In many ways, Norris's title is a masterclass in modern Formula One championship management. With limited testing, complex cars, and razor-thin margins, championships are increasingly decided by judgment rather than aggression. Norris showed that judgment at exactly the right time. That created a unique scenario where Norris's biggest opponent wasn't Verstappen's car, but his own racing instinct. Drivers are trained to attack. They're conditioned to fight every lap. Abu Dhabi demanded the opposite. From the opening laps, Norris wasn't slow or hesitant, but selective. Verstappen was pushing at the limit. Norris was calculating risk. Every move passed one filter. Does this endanger the championship? This is where many fans misunderstand restraint. The media said Norris didn't need to be aggressive, as if it were easy. In reality, resisting aggression under pressure is one of the hardest skills in racing. Over the past seasons, Norris lost results by pushing too hard. Abu Dhabi was different. He trusted the championship math over ego. He didn't win the title because Verstappen won the race. He won because Verstappen winning didn't matter once Norris stayed third. If this explanation is clicking, hit like, because this is exactly how championships are decided. Another crucial element was Oscar Piastri. Early in the race, Piastri was still mathematically alive. Norris couldn't just monitor Verstappen. He had to neutralize his own teammate. That's why Norris responded decisively whenever Piastri closed the gap, doing just enough to secure the position without escalating risk. This wasn't a street fight, it was chess. Meanwhile, Verstappen carried a different pressure. Any mistake ended his title hopes instantly. Norris's pressure was quieter but heavier. Leading a championship demands defending against scenarios that haven't happened yet. Safety cars, pit windows, fastest lap threats. Norris fought a war of probabilities, not lap times. When Verstappen won the race, his celebration was professional. He's done this many times. Norris's reaction was different. He stood still, breathing, overwhelmed. This wasn't relief from a result. It was the emotional release of years of doubt disappearing at once. That's why this championship feels unusual. Most titles are won by dominating the final race.
Verstappen won the race. Lando Norris won Formula One. And sometimes that difference is everything.